You know, I was doing this yesterday with the McNees, and the McNees was great to open, but I mean, Demkos, every single Demko that I have is just so ridiculously satisfying. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brian, and I'm here today with another new knife unboxing, but this one I am extremely excited for because it comes from my favorite knife brand, Demko. I first discovered Demko a couple of months ago with this purchase, an AD20 Halloween edition made in the USA, and since then I have built up quite a collection of Demkos. The majority of them in this box are Demkos, and I've been meaning to make a number of videos about the other models that I've acquired, but I've kind of ventured off into Strider land, recently picked up a McNees, and I figured I ought to just wait for the new, latest, greatest Demko to come in. This is the Shark-A-Tac in here, so let's check it out and see what we think about how it compares to all of the rest of the Demko lineup that I've collected. All right, so this particular knife came from DLT Trading. As I've come to expect, it comes in a pretty basic Demko Knives Custom Shop Made in the USA box. This is a Shark-A-Tac Spike two-tone raw. And the first thing I want to check with this, just because Demko is known for kind of exceptional quality, overbuilt, engineered to perfection, but I have heard that there have been some issues with the blade contacting the backspacer, and I just want to make sure that I don't see that here. Now, quickly eyeballing this, I don't see any issue that makes it look like the blade is hitting the backspacer, but I'll show you a little trick that I realized, which is if you take a flashlight and you shine the light kind of directly onto the edge of the blade, it'll make any burrs or issues or anything just light up like a Christmas tree. So I can check both the backspacer and the blade. Doesn't look like there's any contact at all. Good to know that the potential quality control issue on this knife is not an issue. You never know when it comes to that stuff just how prevalent something can be, because obviously anybody that runs into that issue is going to shout it from the rooftops, so to speak, rightly so. But this looks like a great blade, kind of a cool number, 288. My birthday is the 28th, so kind of cool to get a 28. Interesting to see that these are numbered. Don't know that I was expecting that. Makes me wonder if this is going to be a limited run or something that ultimately withstands the test of time in their lineup. As much as I can get into all of the specs and details, I like to just kind of go over the things that kind of catch my eye, speak to it at a high level first. First thing that I noticed that I really liked about the Shark-A-Tac is the blade shape. I think the blade shape is very, very cool, very modern looking, similar sort of to a whale shark, maybe just a little bit in terms of the belly of the blade, and it kind of looks like a modernized or tweaked whale shark in a sense. This one from DLT is really cool because it's got a two-tone satin finish. It came from a blade show. That's typically where you will get the two-tone finishes. If you buy them directly from Demko, straight from their manufacturing, it will typically be a stone wash. So to kind of see the difference there, I just had this knife open, but this is a straight stonewash finish. This is the two-tone satin on the Shark-A-Tac. And that's one of the reasons I went for this knife from DLT, is kind of a little bit special to get something that's two-tone. Reminds me a bit of my full custom compact that has a satin hollow ground finish. And the other thing that I'm noticing about this blade is it is a narrower blade stock. So if we look at the blade stock between a 80-20, in this case it's a compact, but it's the same as a standard 80-20, I believe, versus the Shark-A-Tac, you'll see the Shark-A-Tac is significantly thinner. I believe this is 0.180, and I'm guessing this is 0.125 to 0.13. Very similar to the 80-20 Slim Sachs in this case, so side by side. Yep. Basically using the same blade stock as the AD20 Slim. The cool thing about this is it's got a very large flat grind through a very large belly, and I think that that makes this a very slicey knife. So for the type of things that I do here at home EDC, I think this knife is going to be outstanding. I'm very familiar with the full titanium Demkos, really a staple in my collection. Every time I get one, the quality is just through the roof. This feels great to deploy, sounds great, really nice sized, oversized thumb hole, I would say. Reverse flick. You know, I was doing this yesterday with the McNees, and the McNees was great to open, but I mean, Demkos, every single Demko that I have is just so ridiculously satisfying. So definitely like this quite a bit. No issues at all with this lock. I mean, we've got the kind of beveled cutout here to get access to this. Really easy to engage and disengage the Shark lock. Demkos are just a joy to operate, and they're built so perfectly. Let's check out the centering on this. Centering is absolutely spot on, it would seem. We've got MagnaCut here for the steel. They did change the clip type just a little bit here from kind of their standard offering. Their standard offering looks something like that. So I believe this is made from lynch clip, and there's nothing wrong with it that I see. Maybe I should try to grip it first. But I do like deep carry clips in general. This is a nice deep carry clip, which I think is useful, especially in this case, because this has the glass breaker standoff, and it is the spike. So I don't know that you want this really sticking far out of your pocket. I think the further you can get it into your pocket, the better. Touching this glass breaker, it's not nearly as sharp as you would think it is. It's actually, you know, not rough or anything, doesn't catch my finger. I can run my finger over it. So I think they did a really nice job with this. I wasn't sure if I should get the spike or the soft rounded point, and I went for the spike because I saw their videos and it looks like the spike is just way more effective at breaking glass easier, which feels like it's the point of a glass breaker. So I went for the spike, and I'm not disappointed. I'm really happy with how this feels and looks in hand. Unlike other Demkos that are full titanium scales, they usually are open with standoffs, but because of this glass breaker, you've got this kind of integrated back spacer with the point, and it's a beautifully constructed, beautiful looking knife. I will say, I wasn't sure about the handle shape. I really didn't know if I would like this handle shape. It looks a little too old school for me. When I watched videos of John and Andrew kind of talking about why they went for this shape and being a universal shape so that you can hold it forwards or backwards, small hands, large hands will fit it, it just didn't necessarily look like it was a modern looking handle shape. So, you know, if I contrast that to the Sax looks like a knife out of the future. And I really like it, and I know that I like it, so I wasn't sure that I would like something that kind of goes more old school in how it looks. I still can't say that I'm the biggest fan of the handle shape, but on the whole, I think this knife just works really, really well. I think it does look fantastic. I think that the blade shape looks incredibly modern. And while the handle might look a little more old school or traditional, it works together really well, maybe because of the curve. The curve of the blade kind of matches the curve of the handle. I don't know. I don't have a great answer for why I feel this works aesthetically as well as it does, but I think it just does. In hand, feels really good. The one thing I will say is, and I've noticed this every now and then on some of the other Demkos, the kind of lip on the shark lock here sometimes interferes with how you'd want to hold the knife and kind of put your finger on the jimping. Now in some cases it supports it pretty well. Like in this case, I feel like my purchase on the grip is higher up, and therefore the shark lock doesn't really interfere with how I would want to hold this knife. I'm noticing on this Shark-A-Tac that the purchase is a little bit lower, and therefore where I would grip it kind of does interfere more on this knife than on others. You can kind of see it, right? If you look at how I'm holding it, you look at where I put my thumb, and you look at where the shark lock kind of like comes up. On some of the other knives, it's not as in the way as it is on this one. So just from handling this briefly, that might potentially become an issue. I'm not sure. If you hold it underneath, you know, it feels okay, but it's not quite the best placement. So, you know, could I grab it up higher? I don't know, just something to consider, food for thought. If you hold it backwards, that feels pretty good too. Nothing wrong with that. The one thing, if you hold it backwards, you might be tempted to put your thumb there. If you put your thumb there with force, you'll actually feel that spike. So, you know, holding something else, you might be tempted to do this if you were going to hold it backwards. I don't really hold my knives backwards, but just, you know, naturally you might be inclined to do that. It feels like a good place to rest your thumb. And on this one, obviously, you probably don't want to be doing that. So, what else do we have? Let's get into some of the specifications. Again, I haven't found my ruler, so I've got this tape that starts at 2 inches. And so we'll just have to work with this. Starting at 2, we've got an overall blade length with the spike at around 9.5. Yep, around 9.5. We've got a blade length at about 3.5 with an edge at about 3.25. I guess let's do a size comparison just compared to a standard AD-20. And a compact. And you can kind of see overall size is probably closer to the AD-20, but the thickness again is going to be that of a slim. So it should be easier to handle in the pocket, easier to handle in the hand. Overall, I really like the size and shape of this. Let's check the weight. 6.4 ounces compared to a full titanium compact at 7.2 compared to a full titanium AD20 full size at 8.2 compared to a Sachs at 6.5. That's actually a little bit surprising. So this is the lightest of them all. That's kind of cool. I definitely appreciate that. I'm wondering, is there any internal milling with this? Yes, there absolutely is. So they have milled out the internals of each of the titanium scales on the handle to make this a lighter weight knife. You've got your typical and customary Demko knives pivot with wampum PA on the other side. And yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with every single Demko that I own, and this one is absolutely no different. Incredibly satisfied with this purchase. Came in at a $725 MSRP. And I do think this one, especially with the two-tone finish on the blade, is going to find a home in my permanent collection. That's all I've got for this one. Let me know what you think about the Shark-A-Tac in the comments. I appreciate you, and I will see you at the next one soon.